she's lost touch with reality. Honestly, from a pastoral perspective, I feel sorry for her. I pray for her. If she has a husband who is present or she's got a pastor who cares, she needs to get an evaluation. And honestly, she needs to take a break because she's become obsessed with Charlie Kirk in a way that is really unhealthy for a married woman. And also, she's tried to make herself the de facto defender and spokesperson for the legacy of Charlie Kirk. And that is the sole discretion of his wife, Erika, who did an incredible job on her interview this week. And she's a really remarkable, incredible, grieving widow. This is the problem with the internet is the crazier you are, the more attention you get, but the less helpful you are.
So if the Trump administration, if the Fed killed Charlie Kirk, look, there's no middle ground here right now. Either Erika Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil. I hope I'm being really clear about that. And saying, well, she didn't connect all the dots just is not an excuse when there is a grieving family right now who's not just left holding the bag, but you know very well this will put Erika Kirk in the crosshairs. Let me ask you this. If you were killed and someone out there for clicks, clickbait, headlines, went out and espoused conspiracy theories with zero evidence that put your wife or your husband in the crosshairs, where you knew after you had passed that the person you love was going to have to deal with fallout and accusations of killing you and villainized, it'd probably be as close to coming back as a haunting as you could possibly hope for, right? Either Erika Kirk is in on this, and just to be clear, that's obviously rhetoric. Of course she's not. And of course there's no evidence that she was. And of course there will be some very unstable people, which is by design from Candace, who will accuse me of being paid by the Trump administration or Mossad or whatever it is. Insert all the crap here.
Candace Owens didn't post a goodbye. She didn't announce a trip. She didn't even hint at leaving. But that didn't stop the internet from losing its mind the moment a blurry airport selfie, supposedly showing her outside the country, started going viral. Within minutes, thousands of people were quoting it, stitching it, reacting to it like it was breaking news. And the wildest part? Nobody could even prove the photo was recent. But the timing was too perfect for people to ignore. Because the same hour that picture started circulating, a massive thread blew up claiming Erika Kirk's potential defamation case, the one fans have been whispering about for weeks, was suddenly speeding up behind the scenes. No filings, no announcements, nothing official. Just a storm of legal speculation, dramatic Reddit breakdowns, and those self-appointed internet lawyers quoting imaginary statutes like they passed the bar exam yesterday. Yet somehow the storyline took shape instantly. Erika is preparing a $900 million lawsuit. Candace knows it's coming. Candace leaves the country. Did anyone verify it? Of course not, but that never matters online. All it takes is a few convincing screenshots, a couple of confident commentators, and suddenly the rumor becomes a movement people treat like fact. And because Candace had spent the last 2 months dropping heavy, emotional hints about betrayal, foreknowledge, and those closest to Charlie, fans were ready to connect these dots, even if the dots weren't meant to touch. What really sent the fire into overdrive, though, were the captions. People weren't just sharing the photo, they were adding fuel. Candace dipping before the lawsuit hits? She's running, I'm telling you. This is what happens when you accuse the wrong widow. Whether true or not, the rumor had everything a viral meltdown needs. Drama, grief, betrayal, and a missing public figure at the center. And if you thought that was chaotic, the next wave of rumors made this look tame. The 900 million figure didn't just appear, it erupted online like someone dropped a bomb in the middle of an already unstable storyline. One minute people were arguing about Candace's airport disappearance, and the next, everyone was quoting the same massive number as if it had been etched into a real court filing. Legal TikTok, political YouTube, even random fan accounts, they all jumped on it instantly. It felt coordinated, even though it wasn't. It was chaos finding its favorite shape. What sent people into a frenzy wasn't the number itself, it was how fast it spread. Screenshots of draft filings, breakdowns of supposed damages, commentary about Erika's next moves, it all hit at once. And because Erika hadn't stepped forward publicly to deny or clarify anything, the internet filled the silence with its own story. She's done staying quiet. She's done being accused. She's finally making her move. And honestly, people were ready to believe it. Because for months, Candace had been pushing harder than anyone. Diary entries, loaded questions, emotional monologues hinting at betrayal. Every clip suddenly looked like a potential exhibit. Every quote felt more dangerous. People even went back to that moment she said Erika knew more than she was saying and replayed it like it was evidence. By mid-afternoon, the narrative wasn't, is Erika preparing something? It was, the case is moving faster than anyone thought. Creators started posting timelines predicting when Candace would be served. Comment sections turned into betting pools, and the energy shifted. This wasn't about Charlie anymore. It was about a widow who people now believed was done being dragged through innuendo, and a commentator whose disappearance looked way too convenient to ignore.
And the most explosive part? People claimed they had already spotted signs that Erika's team was mobilizing, and screenshots began dropping that pushed the story into a whole new level of frenzy. The shift happened the moment people started digging into Candace's own words, not the edited clips, the full, raw moments from her podcast series. Suddenly, the internet wasn't just talking about a lawsuit, they were filing exhibits in the court of public opinion. And every time Candace had hinted at betrayal, people closest to Charlie, or someone who benefited from his silence, people replayed those lines with a whole new edge. Clips from September resurfaced, the ones where she questioned why Erika hadn't spoken out about internal threats. Then came the October episode where she looked into the camera and said Charlie's death was surrounded by people who knew too much and said too little. At the time, it felt emotional. Now, people were saying she crossed the line without realizing it. Screenshots of comments from those old episodes suddenly exploded with fresh activity, like the internet was rewriting the past in real time. And then there were the diary excerpts. Those were the clips people were whispering about the loudest, the ones where Candace read entries supposedly showing Charlie feeling unsafe at home, watched, pressured by people he trusted. Back then, it was framed as exposing the truth. Now, people were calling it the smoking gun Candace should have never touched. Whether the diaries were genuine or misunderstood didn't matter. The perception was locked in. Candace had stepped on something explosive without realizing it. Even the commentators who usually defended her started shifting. A viral panel on YouTube broke down her entire timeline like they were analyzing a political scandal. The questions, the implications, the emotional delivery, all of it. One guest outright said, if Erika wanted to go after Candace, this would be the moment. That clip alone racked up millions of views. And then came the most damning scene, replayed over and over. Candace questioning why Erika became TPUSA CEO so fast. People clipped it with captions like, this is where she messed up, and this didn't age well. By evening, the energy had changed completely. This wasn't internet gossip anymore. It felt like a countdown. Creators were stitching together timelines with dramatic music saying, Candace opened doors she can't close, and Erika has finally had enough. Whether any of it was real didn't matter. The public had made up its mind, and once the internet locks in a narrative, the next phase is always the same. They start looking for signs, movement, shifts, anything that feels like confirmation. And that's exactly what happened next. With screenshots people swore showed Erika's team gearing up for something huge. The internet didn't need official confirmation, it just needed something that felt like movement. And that's exactly what dropped. A string of screenshots showing emails, calendar invites, and legal team chatter that people insisted were tied to Erika Kirk's next steps. None of it was verified, none of it came from Erika, but the timing was so perfect that the public swallowed it whole. The first screenshot claimed to show consults scheduled with litigation specialists. The second, even blurrier, looked like a PDF titled Reputation Restoration Strategy. And the third, the one that blew everything open, appeared to be a message saying, "We move faster than expected. No signature, no sender, no confirmation." But it didn't matter. People were convinced they were looking at the gears turning. Almost instantly, big commentary accounts declared that Erika's team was preparing to hit back and they weren't pulling punches. They framed it as a grieving widow finally drawing her line in the sand, tired of being reduced to an implication, an innuendo, a character in someone else's theory. And the internet ate it up. They wanted Erika to fight. They wanted her to reclaim the narrative. They wanted a showdown. And then people remembered something crucial. Erika hadn't said one word, not one, in response to Candace's months of commentary. Silence is powerful. Silence creates openings. Silence gets interpreted as strategy, especially when emotions are running high. Suddenly, her lack of response wasn't viewed as grief or dignity. It was painted as a sign she was building a case quietly, letting Candace speak herself into deeper and deeper trouble.
Creators started posting side-by-side breakdowns. On one side, Candace's most intense monologues, the betrayal claims, the diaries, the questions pointed toward Charlie's inner circle. On the other side, screenshots labeled Erika's move, Erika's plan, Erika's timeline. No one had confirmed anything, but the narrative took on a life of its own. People began saying the lawsuit wasn't just coming, it was accelerating. Overnight, "sped up" became the phrase everyone repeated, as if they had seen the paperwork themselves. And with every new piece of evidence, every clipped moment, every speculative thread, one question surged louder than the rest. Was Candace's sudden disappearance connected to all of this? That question didn't just fuel the story, it detonated the next phase of the meltdown. The moment screenshots started dropping, everything went from loud to unhinged. People weren't just speculating anymore, they were tracking Erika Kirk like she was building a war room. The first viral screenshot showed a calendar blocked out with what someone claimed were legal strategy meetings. It was probably nothing more than a normal TPUSA schedule, but that didn't stop anyone. Commenters zoomed in, circled random words, and convinced themselves the countdown had officially begun. Then came the photo that nearly broke X. A grainy shot of Erika walking into a high-rise office with two men in suits. No context, no timestamp, just the image and a caption that said, "She's moving, faster than expected." That was all it took. The replies instantly filled with people saying this was step one, phase two, the quiet before the legal storm. And once people believe they see movement, they create the rest. Influencers jumped on it immediately. One political commentator claimed insiders told him Erika had finally reached her breaking point. Another insisted she'd had enough of Candace dragging her through innuendo. None of them offered proof, but the conviction in their voices made the theory feel more solid than any official statement ever could. But the biggest explosion came from a 12-second clip filmed outside a law office. The camera shakes, the audio's terrible, and you can barely tell who's who, but people swore they spotted Erika's hairstyle. That clip alone sent the phrase, "lawsuit is happening," trending for hours. Threads dissected it from 50 angles, comparing handbags, shoes, body shape, anything that could convince the public they were seeing what they wanted to see. And because Erika remained completely silent through it all, the internet interpreted the quiet as strategy, not avoidance. That silence radiated power. It made people believe the wheels were turning behind closed doors, and fast. Meanwhile, Candace's social feeds stayed frozen. No posts, no clarifications, no denial of the lawsuit talk. People interpreted that as the final piece of the puzzle. Erika moving quietly, Candace disappearing loudly. By the end of the night, the narrative was locked in. Erika was preparing to strike, and Candace was out of the picture. Whether any of that was real didn't matter. It felt real. And online, that's more than enough to turn speculation into a full-blown legend. And then came the moment that made everything spiral even harder. Proof that Candace wasn't just quiet, she was gone. What really turned the internet upside down wasn't Candace's commentary or the legal chatter. It was Erika Kirk's silence. A silence that, until now, people chalked up to grief, leadership pressure, or simply refusing to engage. But overnight, the silence started to feel strategic, calculated, like she was finally letting the world talk while her next move was already underway. People began analyzing her every digital footprint, or rather, the lack of one. No responses, no clarifications, no denial of the lawsuit talk, nothing to calm the wildfire. And because of everything Candace had said over the past 2 months, Erika's quietness suddenly took on a different meaning. People online decided she wasn't avoiding drama anymore. They believed she was building a case.
A screenshot supposedly showing Erika in a meeting room, blurred figures, binders, legal pads on the table, went viral instantly. It didn't matter that the photo was completely unverified. The internet treated it like a behind-the-scenes glimpse into a widow finally preparing to fight back. Comment sections filled with takes like, "She's done being disrespected. She's lawyering up. This is the calm before the storm." Supporters praised her for staying dignified amid all of the noise. Critics of Candace claimed Erika was gathering everything Candace had said, every clip, every diary reference, every innuendo, and putting them into a timeline even stronger than what the internet had created. Even neutral viewers began saying the same thing. Erika's silence isn't weakness, it's momentum. Then came the biggest shift. People started resurfacing reports that Erika had privately asked Candace to stop multiple times in the early weeks after Charlie's death. Those claims had gone unnoticed back then, but now, recontextualized, they became proof that Erika had been pushed too far. It didn't matter whether those conversations were real or exaggerated. The public treated them like a warning Candace ignored. And the second that idea took hold, the narrative changed again. Erika wasn't the grieving widow being dragged online anymore. She was the widow who finally reached her limit and was preparing to hit back harder than anyone expected. But what came next turned the entire situation from messy to full-blown explosive, because that's when people started noticing Candace wasn't the only one acting strange. What made everything spiral even harder was how fast the internet turned the story into a manhunt, not for proof, but for patterns. Suddenly, every small shift in Erika Kirk's public behavior was treated like a signal. People dug through her recent interviews, her schedules, even the quiet pauses she took while speaking at events. And the moment she appeared more reserved than usual, the comments exploded. Yep, she's building her case. She's lawyering up. This is the calm before the storm. It didn't matter that Erika hadn't said a single word publicly about Candace. The silence itself became the headline. And once silence becomes a headline, people start filling it with their own meaning. Some said she was grieving and exhausted. Others swore she was calculating her next move. But the loudest voices insisted she was preparing for something far bigger than the public realized. The tipping point came when screenshots started circulating showing a big-name legal firm supposedly reviewing online attacks tied to the Kirk family. There was no confirmation, but the internet treated it like a press release. Threads popped up claiming the firm had already sent inquiries.
Others insisted discovery was underway. Whether any of it was real didn't matter. People were convinced the machinery was moving. Meanwhile, creators began posting videos breaking down Candace's whereabouts, treating every missing live stream or delayed upload as suspicious. One viral caption nailed the mood perfectly. Erika gets quiet, Candace disappears, the timing is too tight to ignore. Comment sections turned into full detective boards. Fans compared dates, timestamps, quotes, episode airings, and Erika's public schedule like they were solving a national security case. It became obsessive, the kind of frenzy where the story stops belonging to the people involved and becomes property of the entire internet. And the pressure didn't let up, because once the narrative locked in, Erika preparing, Candace running, the suit accelerating, people demanded proof that something massive was coming. And what happened next only made them double down. By the time things reached this stage, the internet wasn't just reacting, it was tracking. People started behaving like investigators, digging through every corner of Erika Kirk's recent activity, searching for any signal that something major was happening behind the scenes. And it didn't take long before they convinced themselves they found it. Screenshots of emails supposedly sent from TPUSA's legal department started circulating, each one stamped with confidential, urgent, or action required. Nobody could prove they were real, but the tone of them, stern, clipped, and formal, fit too perfectly with the lawsuit narrative already dominating every feed. People shared them like they were leaks from a courtroom drama, not random images dropped by accounts with anime profile pictures. Then came the timeline breakdowns. Big creators, the ones who love their giant red arrows and dramatic music, posted videos claiming Erika's legal team had entered an acceleration phase. What does that even mean? Nobody knew, but the internet didn't care. The phrase sounded official, dangerous, and perfect for the storyline. That was enough. And the theories only got bolder. Users started dissecting Erika's silence, pointing out she hadn't posted a single personal update in days. Others swore her sudden disappearance from Instagram stories was a clear indicator that something serious was moving forward. Some even pointed out how calm she looked during her last public appearance, calling it lawsuit energy. Yes, they actually said that. Meanwhile, creators tracking Candace's absence claimed they had confirmation she was still out of the country, despite offering zero proof beyond the same recycled airport photo. But online, confidence matters more than evidence. And confident voices were declaring that Candace wasn't just avoiding drama, she was avoiding a legal hit she saw coming. The narrative now felt unstoppable. Erika was preparing something massive, and Candace was nowhere in sight. People didn't need documentation, they didn't need statements, they didn't even need logic. The story had momentum. And momentum online is a beast you can't calm down once it starts moving. And just when everyone thought this saga couldn't twist any further, the internet found one more thing to obsess over, something that made the entire lawsuit narrative feel even heavier.